We are going. This is our initial
First pilot.
This is the pilot. We might get picked up. Now, I think that we should establish to our listeners that we don't have a name,
No name.
and so we don't have a name yet. So maybe by the end of this, we might have a name.
Maybe.
Did you get my text message the other day with the potential names?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where I got those?
Mm-mm.
A random band name generator.
Really?
Soap of the Erotic is by far the best one.
I kind of like it.
That could be the name of like anything.
Uh-huh. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Creative probation. That's not bad. Loaded blimp. I don't know, but I do like Soap of the Erotic. That's good.
I got Loaded Blimp I was watching The Rocketeer.
Huh. Yeah.
So that one was just kind of like,
You know, I haven't seen that in years. I did find out, though, that the director of that directed Captain America, the first Captain
Ooh.
America.
that makes sense.
So it's kind of in that superhero
Actually,
realm.
it makes a lot of sense if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like 1930 something, 40 something.
Yeah, that's true, now that you mention it.
Rocketeer takes place in 38,
Mm-hmm.
right before the Nazis invaded Poland.
All right. I need to see that again. It's been years since I've seen that. Probably since I was a kid, but I used to love it as a kid.
I saw it in the theater,
I think I did too.
and was it Bill Campbell? Is that the guy?
The main guy?
Where the hell has he been?
I don't know. I don't think he does anything. I've not seen his name in a long time.
I don't see him too often.
Mm-mm.
But the thing is that him and Jennifer Connelly signed for 3 movies. And what's his name that played Howard Hughes signed on for 2. And
Who was that? That was Terry O'Quinn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's in
Lost.
everything.
Yeah.
he's in everything.
Mhm.
And so what Bill Campbell had said that they signed on and they left it wide open, but the problem was 3 weeks before the film came out, Disney had already made the decision that they were not going to make a sequel. After they'd spent like millions on ad campaigns
Right.
to promote the movie, and the
Mhm.
movie didn't do well.
No.
It's like they knew it was going to happen.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I don't know. As a kid, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
See, that makes a lot of sense. That would be the
Yeah, with the time frame.
yeah.
I didn't. I guess I didn't put that together when I heard that, but it makes a lot of sense.
There was a poster, and let me see if I can find it. This is the beauty part about having internet on here.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see if I can find it. It was like Rocketeer 2.
Like some fan
Yeah,
made.
and it was just Rocketeer 2. And
It seems like I stumbled on something like that where there were quite a few, at least 10 fan-made posters of sequels that will never happen. But some were really cool.
Here it is. Okay. This is why I like the internet. Rocketeer 2, Crimson Skies, and it looks all Russian.
I have seen that.
Yeah, I'll click on that. Can I click on that? And it was like a new enemy. A new enemy has risen, and an old hero or something, and it's like we're gonna fight the Russians in a sequel. Yeah, Crimson Skies, and it looks it's all Russian and shit.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what time that would have taken place, though. What did you say? The first one was 38?
1938. Yeah. So when were we fighting the Russians? In the 80s?
That'd be a pretty long stretch for Rocketeer to be alive that long. Maybe 50 years later.
I mean, it could take place because Howard Hughes died in 79. I think.
You would know more than I would.
Yeah, I think he lived quite a while,
Mhm.
and so maybe like the plot would be like on Hughes's deathbed, he he gives out the real plans of the rocket pack, and because the Russians are after it,
right?
Maybe that's the intended.
There'd have to be some sort of nuclear.
Well, then again, it could take place during the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe during like the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
And he's got to fly across the ocean and like save Jennifer Connelly from Cuba.
From Castro.
From Castro. Yeah, Castro could be the enemy in this one. Who would play Castro?
Now, if they made it now?
Yeah, if they made that now, who would play Castro?
Oh, I don't know.
'Cause Timothy Dalton was the Nazi.
Right.
You know.
I don't know. First name that popped in my head was Benicio del Toro, which would be funny because he played Che Guevara in that biopic.
Oh yeah,
which was good. That was a good one.
I haven't seen that yet.
It was good.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think Benicio del Toro could be a good Castro.
Yeah.
I don't know, like my other would be like John Malkovich because he does.
He does a great Russian.
Yeah.
He's got a great Russian accent.
You know.
Yeah. I could
So I think he could do Cuban accent. I think he could be a good.
He could do Cuban, right?
You know, or like, I think John Malkovich would be my first pick as an enemy for Rocketeer 2. Or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it's sort of like. Well, then again, if you look at the poster here, the poster has a Russian symbol, so I guess we wouldn't be fighting Cuba.
No.
And
well, that could be what the third one's about.
Yeah.
Well,
he goes to Burma and joins forces with Rambo. Goes to Burma. There's actually a lot of cool Rocketeer stuff on here, like comic book shit. Like, I mean, and I've seen the graphic novel. I mean, it's pretty neato, you know. But like,
now was it a comic before the movie? Where did the idea come from? It was
a comic.
Was
like
it DC or was it kind of like a no name?
It looks like just like a graphic novel type thing. Rocketeer2.com. Ooh,
it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole domain towards that.
It's probably apparently Rocketeer's on Blu-ray now. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend you watching that again. You should watch that tonight. You should go home and watch it. It's on Netflix right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should go home and watch it.
Because
I rather enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Jennifer Connelly was hot back then.
Man, she's still a looker.
There's like there's like artist renderings of like girl Rocketeer.
That's kind of hot.
Yeah. So Rocketeer takes place in 1938, and he's fighting the Nazis, and so we think a sequel would take place sometime afterwards, and he'd be like fighting the Russians. So I'm guessing, we could establish that it would take place in the 60s.
Right.
Maybe like Crimson Skies could be like the space race or something.
What if it was Kennedy never got assassinated, but so communism was kind of a forefront in that. Kennedy was trying to deter that, calling the Rocketeer to, try to subside some of the communism coming from Cuba and Russia.
I think if we want to go with historical fiction, Kennedy would have to get killed.
Yeah.
If we want to go with historical fiction. So maybe that could be the beginning of the movie. Kennedy is like shot.
The assassination
that kicks off the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll kick off the film, and then whatever, blah blah, we can Google that too, but I think just judging from the poster here that it would have to be something Russian. So
maybe the Russians killed Kennedy.
Russians could have done that.
Yeah.
This could just be like a Sputnik type of thing. We could look at it like that. It was like, but that was like 50 57,
Yeah.
56. My years are probably off here, but
I'd say the 60s would probably be a much more ideal.
take it 30 years into the future,
Mhm.
30 years later. Let's see here. This Sputnik.
But what about the Rocketeer? So, how old do you think he was in the first movie?
I would say
Early 20s,
early
maybe?
20s.
Okay, so he'd be in his 50s at that point. Might have to pass the torch to another Rocketeer.
To a younger Rocketeer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could establish something like that where, because the end of the first film was October 1957, Sputnik.
Okay.
So, the what was I thinking there just a moment ago? At the end of the first film, the schematics for the rocket pack are still intact.
Right.
So, and the engineer friend is like, "Oh, we can do this and we can make it better." So maybe they build another one and it's sitting somewhere in storage, and like his name is Cliff Secoy or whatever. I think that's his character name in the movie. Cliff is like, I know where the rocket pack is at. It's like hiding somewhere, and like they're saving it for, like, when they need it the most. And then the third movie can be like Vietnam.
Okay. That'd be really close between the second and the third movies.
Yeah.
Like really close. They'd have to make those at the same time.
And I think one of the, like, I think we have to sort of think, because like the first movie is all like, it's all about aviation,
Right.
So what in history could we center the aviation around, and then it seemed pretty obvious with with like the Nazis and everything. So what could we center around aviation and the Russians? And that would, I think the space race would probably be the,
There you go.
Maybe the Russians are trying to steal the plans for the Saturn V booster rocket, which we actually hired a bunch of Germans to design that. Is that you or me?
That was me.
Okay. Hired a bunch of Germans to do that for us. We stole them. Saturn V booster rocket. That's what took us to the moon. Look at this. This is a metal arming key, the last remaining piece of the first Sputnik satellite. Oh, that's kind of neato. The thing looks all space age like. Seriously, it looks like some sort of like Imperial probe droid. Let me see. Imperial probe droid. It's a good thing the Empire knows we're here. So this is so that's Rocketeer 2.
There you go.
And 3. He's gonna fight the Russians.
Fight the Russians and bring all that down.
Seems so, I think you think about it now. It seems so silly now when you think about it. Like, he's gonna fight the Russians, and it's like there's like a shit ton of movies about that for a while. Like,
yeah, especially in the 80s.
That was just really popular. Kind of racist if you think about it. Well, what I want to know is like Ed Harris, man. Ed Harris plays a Russian in that Enemy at the Gates. No, he plays a German. I'm sorry. He plays a German, and he sounds American. And what's his name? Jude Law is a Russian, and he sounds British.
Yeah. I don't know that I saw that, actually.
That was a good one. You didn't see Enemy at the Gates?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's like a sniper movie.
Sniper.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool Enemy at the Gates. There we go. It's got Jude Law, Ed Harris.
When did it come out?
2001.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those that it came out during a time where there were a lot of war movies Joseph Fiennes is in it too.
Okay.
There was a Bob Hoskins. Rest in
Nice.
peace. Rachel Weisz. Oh
Man, that's a pretty good cast.
I might have to watch this again.
Especially
Forgot
for some
about her.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, no.
And you gotta have Mario somewhere.
Still dead.
Still dead. Didn't
71. Oh, he died this year. That's right. Shmee died this year. Shmee.
Smee's me.
I think it's funny that he said that Super Mario was his
Most hated experience in working with a movie.
I'm just like, dude, come on. Like, we love it. Like, doesn't really matter, right? I mean, I thought it was Super Mario. I mean, don't get me wrong. It sucks. Let's just, don't get me wrong. It is by no means a cinematic masterpiece, but it is a fun watch. You know.
It is a fun watch, and there's some cool stuff in it, but I mean, as a kid, I was super excited, and watching it later in life, very disappointed. But like I said, there's some cool Easter eggs in it. Did you know there's a after credits scene?
When she comes back and she's like, Mario, you gotta come with me.
No, after all the credits are done. Yeah, it's like these it's the Koopa twins, I guess. And you can look it up if you want. A movie executive comes in and talks to them about trying to create a movie about it, and they're like, "Yeah, we should do that, but it'd be about them instead of Mario and Luigi."
But the Super Koopa Brothers, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I saw that on YouTube actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I watched that on YouTube. And it was funny because like they established things in that movie that I was kind of like, I never realized the princess' name was Daisy
Mm-hmm.
until, but this came out, like what, 93? So what was the big game that year? Was the Super Nintendo? Was that the big Super Mario World?
It had to have been because they used a Supersonic 6 in the movie.
Okay.
Mario used a Supersonic 6 to blast Bowser or Koopa.
That was a funky thing.
Yeah, but it was all like ratty and like old looking, so you wouldn't really recognize it. But it was like, that's obviously from Super Nintendo.
Super Scope 6. That's
Super
what it
Scope
was
6,
called.
yeah.
The Super Scope 6. Post-credit scene, 2 Japanese business executives talk about making a video game based on Iggy and Spike.
That's right, yeah, Iggy and Spike.
That's right. I mean, this wasn't a bad movie by any means. I mean, it was cool, at least in my opinion. I mean, like, but it was not great. Like it could have been better.
Oh yeah, that could have been way better. And that's really crappy that that was the first Nintendo venture into features, because that kind of spoiled everything. Now there could be so many amazing movies from Nintendo that we could have.
If they made a Mega Man movie, who do you think would do the Mega Man movie?
Like make it or be Mega Man?
Or either one. Like,
oh, I don't know.
if you say Jerry Bruckheimer, I'm gonna slap you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But Bruckheimer or any of those big action guys would probably be the go-to. He wouldn't be what I would want to do the movie, but they would be the go-to guys.
They would have been the go-to back then, though. I mean, things have changed. When's the last time you saw a Jerry Bruckheimer movie? What's the last Jerry Bruckheimer
Bad
movie?
Boys 2, maybe. I don't
Right.
know.
That's just ridiculous.
The Island.
Wait, no, that was The Beach. I was like, didn't Danny Boyle do that?
Oh, The Beach. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even see it because of all the bad press that it got with how everything was treated and everything.
I don't even. Yeah, I just. I cringe when I think about that movie. Yeah, but like Mega Man just would be something. It would have to be. Like, who did RoboCop this past year? Who was the guy that did RoboCop?
I don't know.
Because RoboCop was cool.
The new one?
Yeah, the remake was cool.
I haven't seen it. I heard it was decent.
Yeah, I got it from the Redbox. I mean, I didn't feel like I wasted a night watching it.
Mm-hmm.
but when I think of like 1992, 1993, if at the height of Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
it's the height of Nintendo for us,
Right.
so I would think that like they would tap like one of those big action people to do that, and one of those. But the one that I think that would be awesome, even today, would be James Cameron to do Mega Man.
But he'd blow it up too much. I think it'd be too. I think it'd be.
Oh, he'd spend $1 billion on it.
That'd be. I think it'd be way too much. Yeah, I wouldn't see that. I wouldn't watch a Mega Man movie from James Cameron.
He would totally spend $1 billion on it, like it was nothing. And I think that's like, you're right. That's what would kill the film in a way. And but 20 years ago though, that would have been, I think, a whole different story.
Yeah.
Though. I mean,
if he had come right off of Terminator 2 to do something like that, yeah.
Because he has established himself as, someone who can do robots, really.
Mm-hmm. But I would pick James Cameron to do Metroid before Mega Man.
Yeah.
Because Metroid would be right in his wheelhouse.
Haven't they wanted to do Metroid? Wasn't there like a plan to do Metroid?
I'm sure.
I think I'd heard like maybe Uncle Kelly had said something to me about I have this vague memory of saying like, oh, like somebody wants to do Metroid,
Mm-hmm.
like, and then there's like this whole like, but what would the story be, because there wasn't really an established narrative in the
Right.
game, so which is a big thing now with video games. There's stories that are established
Mm-hmm.
now, but yeah, I think Cameron would do, because he'd do all like that, like Alien. He could build that whole world.
Yeah.
He would literally build it.
Yeah. But see, I don't know. I mean, I'm still I'm in Christopher Nolan's court.
I have not seen Interstellar yet, so don't spoil it for me.
That movie needs to be seen.
Yeah, don't spoil it for me. I have not seen it yet, and I'm a big fan. He's becoming one of those directors where it's sort of like, if he makes a movie, I have to see it.
Yeah, no matter
Kind of
what.
like how what's his name is that guy that I really like.
That guy I love so much.
Yeah. Fight Club guy, the Fight Club.
Fincher, yeah.
David Fincher. Why did I blank on that? That's just
Did you see Gone Girl?
Not yet. It's Mary Frances saw it though. She went and saw it, and she said it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
And my brother saw it and he said it was awesome, and like everybody at work saw it and said it was awesome. So
It's an awesome
need
movie.
to see the movie. So, I really need to see that. But yeah, like Fincher, just I like anything he does, and so with Nolan, he has won me over, and hasn't had to try. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like everything I think he touches is just cool. Like
Yeah.
it looks cool, it flows cool. Like
Yeah.
there's just everything he touches is just and I just like it. I don't know why. I can't even explain that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, his movies are awesome. They're all great. The Prestige is, probably a top 10 movie for me. That's a great movie. Inception was awesome.
I think because he does stuff like that. He does these like kind of these psychological
Mm-hmm.
things that where you think you're watching a movie about one thing, but you're really watching a movie about something else.
Right.
I think a lot of that comes to him. Him and his brother co-write everything, and so I
Mhm.
think a lot of that is just not so much he's a good director as that he's just a damn good writer.
That's true. I recently read that Interstellar was a Spielberg flick that Jonathan Nolan wrote, but Spielberg started to do something else and couldn't do it, so it kind of got put on the back burner.
Check this out.
So after
Wait,
the
sorry.
Batman trilogy was done, Jonathan said, "Hey, Chris, why don't you do this?" So that's when Nolan picked up Interstellar. But probably one of the last movies that's ever going to be filmed on film, because everything's going to digital now.
Interstellar's done on actual
Film.
35 millimeter,
70 millimeter.
70 millimeter. Oh wow!
So he released it in 70 millimeter and 35 millimeter and digital. So you
Wow.
can see it any of those ways. Opry Mills has it 70 millimeter.
Oh, is there a reason for this?
Aesthetics, probably. I mean, why not? It's film. That's why filmmakers get into making movies. But if you read up on Nolan, he's very, as far as a filmmaker, he's very well versed in all kinds of genre. And
I think he'd do one on Super 8 if given the time.
Yeah,
he would make an entire thing on VHS if he wanted to.
I have no doubt about that.
But it takes a certain type of person to be able to pull that off, to say, like, okay, I'm going to make an entire movie with my iPhone. And then, but it has to be the type of movie where you watch it and you have no idea that it was done on Super 8 or have no idea it was done on VHS. Like,
right.
So it takes a certain person who understands technology, makes it work for them, Like, I'm going to do this just because I can.
Yeah.
Check this out.
All right.
Metroid.
Okay.
Someone's making, this is the reading this word for word. Someone's making a $90,000 Metroid movie without Nintendo's permission.
Okay.
And it looks like they have posted a script. Metroid, The Enemy Within. And it says, didn't we just go through this with Final Fantasy? Someone wants to make a Metroid fan film, raising $90,000. They don't have an agreement with Nintendo, and of course they don't. And there was a fan-made Final Fantasy web series that came under scrutiny as the subject of intellectual property. I actually had no idea about that. That's kind of interesting. There's
Final Fantasy's
There's
Capcom,
a Kickstarter, right? Dude. There's a Kickstarter for this thing. They're using the Metroid Prime series for the storyboard.
I don't know. I think it needs to be a feature. I think they need to make it. I think Nintendo needs to kind of back off and go, okay, let's start over.
Christopher Nolan could do Metroid.
I would rather see Christopher Nolan do Mega Man.
Christopher Nolan could do Zelda.
I would rather see that.
But I think if Christopher Nolan, if him and his brother, if the two of them wrote Zelda, they could get someone else to direct it.
Yeah, that's true. And they'd probably get Snyder to direct it.
Because Robin Williams, his daughter she's named Zelda, and she's named after the game. And one of the things that Robin Williams always wanted, he always wanted someone to make a movie.
Right.
And was kind of like, I'll be involved in it. I'll
probably fund it.
Yeah, he was wanting, but just sort of kind of, he'd always sort of put it out there that, hey, I'll help make it happen to make it happen. And just, of course, it's never going to happen, but 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 I think it's going to take somebody like that to step up and say, thought I heard my son. Ian's asleep.
Right.
It's going to take someone like that to step up and say, okay, hey, we need to do this.
Yeah.
Here's $50 million. Like, let's do this. Like, somebody call Nintendo and write them a fucking check.
Right. Right.
But Nintendo's not hard up for money.
No, they're not. They're not hurting at all. Yeah, I would rather see. I could definitely see Nolan doing something like Mega Man because of what he did with Batman. There wasn't any sort of supernatural, crazy shit going on. It's human beings. It's people. There are awful situations and kind of insane people, but you're not seeing crazy off the wall. Like, you're not seeing Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy. You're not seeing those characters that are kind of beyond the world of of natural.
Right.
So something like Mega Man, that idea of somebody creating a robot to destroy, that's feasible. But something like Zelda, I wouldn't see Nolan doing something like that, because elves and creatures like that would be kind of out of his. I don't think he would do something like that.
If he did Zelda, though, Zelda would become like a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
He would totally turn it into something like that instead of like a fantasy movie.
Right. But you don't want to see that. You want to see a fantasy movie if you're watching Zelda.
Yeah.
You want to see something. You want to see something fantastic.
I want to see the sword shoot laser bolts.
Fuck yeah. and Ganondorf's going to be bigger than life, so you want to see that.
That would be like, there's a trailer that they made on April Fools, and this is like almost 7-8 years ago. I don't know if I wouldn't be able to hear it on here, but it is the coolest. It was one of the biggest letdowns ever because when I found out it was a joke, that it was a total April Fool's joke, and it was gonna follow like the Hero of Time concept and everything, and yeah, I can't play it. We won't be able to hear it, but yeah, but that was a big letdown.
Yeah,
in my opinion. There's a fan-made Mega Man.
I've seen some fan-made stuff.
And Mega Man movie was in Google that. See if they made a Mega Man movie, the Proto Man could do the soundtrack.
And see, I'd want to see their story. I'd want to see their version of the Mega Man story. Yeah, or the Proto Man story.
They need to. Ooh, look at this. Official site of the Mega Man fan film, Blue Core Studios. Looks like somebody made a Mega Man fan film. Japanese Mega Man fan film from 2010.
I might have seen that.
Interesting. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Wonder how much they spent on this. It looks pretty elaborate, actually. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I hold out that one day, but I think it's sort of like Capcom owns Mega Man. Nintendo's got nothing to do with it.
Right. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
It's
I don't think
Capcom thing, yeah. So Nintendo owns like Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, that kind of those classic characters. They now own Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Because they bought Sega.
Yeah, they bought Sega
10-15 years ago.
Right.
And so I think that's more of a Capcom thing, but you're right about the whole the Proto Man story. That the whole, like that should in itself, like the Act 2 album should in itself could be a movie. Like it could just be a whole. It's got everything. It's got robots and it's got people in love.
Yeah. What more could you want? What more could you want?
So, okay. I'm gonna click on this and just wow, dude, this actually looks cool.
I might have seen that one. I want to say I might have already said it's kind of Tron-esque almost.
Yeah, it looks very Tron-ish. I mean, people don't realize Tron's a B movie, a crappy B movie for that matter. But why did we like it so much? I have no idea.
What, Tron?
Yeah,
Tron's an awesome movie.
Tron is a great movie.
And Legacy was great too.
Yeah.
I love the sequel.
I went and saw that with Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, because you saw it. Did y'all see it in 3D?
Yeah, we went to see it in 3D.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I should have watched it in 3D.
And it was one of those kind of like, oh, you want to go see Tron? Yeah, why not? Let's go see Tron. It was just like it's nothing else. It came out around Christmas time or Thanksgiving that year.
Yeah, it seems that's about right.
And I was like, oh wow, this is actually kind of cool. Like I actually had low expectations for it. Being a sequel made 30 years later, like I had low expectations for it. Let's see here. Tron. I think there's going to be a third one. I haven't heard anything about it, but
they've been talking about it for a while, but I don't know if it's how how much it's going to do.
Let's see here. July 9th, 1982. That movie came out 4 days after I was born. That's funny.
When was the date?
July 9th, 1982.
Nice.
Yeah, it had a budget of $17 million and it made $33 million. I have a hard time believing that movie cost $17 million.
Well, I mean, why not? I mean, it had like the most high-tech computer graphics of its time, I'm sure.
Of its time.
Of course, by now, a child could program that in, minutes, but
yeah. I mean, but like that's just like, but even for 1982 though, even for 1982, the movie just looks, it looks cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Like even for 1982, and you considering all the other movies that were out around that time, it just looks cheesy.
Right.
Oh.
And it looks even cheesier now. When's the last time you watched it?
I watched it shortly after because it had it on Netflix. I watched it shortly after I saw the sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still cool because like I remember we used to watch it with Uncle Kelly. He was really into it, so we just thought it was cool back then, and it's still cool now. But just I don't know, when you sort of think about the big picture now, think about the big picture, it's just sort of like, really, that cost $17 million? Shit.
Right.
My 12-year-old can do that.
Exactly. But hell, back then that was some high tech shit.
High tech shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Because I mean, you see stuff like Transformers and stuff like that now. And that's crazy.
I didn't see the last few Transformers movies.
No, I only saw the first one. But regardless, the point is that's Transformers is now realized.
Oh, check this out. Tron opened in 1,091 theaters, and it made $4 million on its first weekend, and then it went on to make $33 million total. And Disney saw that as a disappointment, and the studio wrote off a large chunk of the $17 million budget. How do you write off when you made a profit?
Right. You made almost half your money back.
No. The movie only cost 17. They made 33.
Right.
So I call that a success.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when the Pumpkins album Adore came out and it only sold 2 million. Only.
That would be crazy by today's standards if somebody sold 2 million records.
Only.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Melancholy sold 6 million copies. But do you really expect the next one to sell just as big?
Not with what happened between Melancholy and Adore. There's no way. Lost the drummer. We're changing our sound a little bit.
I think you look at like a progression. Like Siamese Dream was like, platinum, 1 million, 2 million. Eventually sold more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So Melancholy coming out of the gate, after it's all said and done, 6 million copies, which actually translated into 11 because they actually got credit for 2. So every time you bought the album, they were getting credit for 2.
Oh, because it was a double record.
Because of double album.
Yeah.
And whoever certifies these things, it's all based on the number of songs and actually how much you pay for it.
Right.
So you were paying for a double disc, therefore you got credit for a double disc. So you have like that natural progression, but when you hit that tier though, 6 million on a double album, and then you make a new record 3 years later,
right?
You're not gonna sell as many. I mean, come on.
No way.
I mean, that's just like but like they did the same thing to Michael Jackson. They were like, oh, Michael Jackson's new album only sold 1 million copies in America. Like, I sell 1 copy and I feel like John Grisham. I mean, I don't.
I'm like, no, awesome, we did it.
So when a movie actually makes money these days, but it didn't make a shitload of money. I'm like, well, define shitload.
Right.
Actually, let's define a shitload of money. What is a shitload of money?
I don't know.
Like
compared to what? Like the budget?
Yeah, like let's say you spend $1 million making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you consider a shitload of money? Like a decent profit on $1 million.
Anything in the double digits, I would say.
So you're saying if you spend $1 million on a movie and it made $30 million, call that a success?
Yeah, I'd say that's a shitload of money.
You know what's really sad is that Hollywood doesn't see it that way.
Right. No. But they've been making movies for years. I've never made a movie.
Oh, you can't make a movie for less than $1 million.
Bullshit. There's some great movies out there that have been made for less than $1 million.
You know what? Let's look into that. What has been made for less than $1 million off the top here, just off the top of your head?
First thing that comes to mind, Pi by Darren Aronofsky.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely under $1 million, and that's a good movie. Fucked up, but good. Blair Witch Project, that made a shitload of money.
Oh God, yeah.
Let's see. Clerks, yeah.
$27,000.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he published the exact amount at one time of how much that movie actually cost. It's like $27,842.12. Like he had the exact amount. This thing's not coming up. I found an article. Oh, here it is. Okay. 10 movies with tiny budgets that made massive box office profits.
All right.
And it's still loading.
I'm trying to think of some other ones.
I mean, Pi, so far, you're off to a good start there. Pi, Blair Witch Project, Clerks.
Yeah.
Chasing Amy cost less than $1 million. They made that one for $700,000.
Okay.
He's known for staying under budget and doing cheap things. Linklater would probably be another good example.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure Before Midnight or Sunset, or whatever the name it is, cost.
Or hell, probably Dazed and Confused probably cost less than $1 million.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused probably cost nothing to make. Come on. Okay, here we go. The Conjuring.
Okay, that's surprising.
Budget was $20 million.
Okay.
Oh, this isn't what I was looking for.
No.
20. I mean, don't be wrong. That movie was cool.
Look up Google.
But it made 318.
Wow.
So I guess by that standard.
Yeah.
By that standard.
That's a pretty high.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding. $5 million.
All right.
Made $368 million.
Holy shit.
Somebody got a bonus that year.
Yeah. Somebody got a lot of bonus that year.
Someone's kid got 3 Xboxes that year.
And a car.
And a car. Yeah, forget the Xbox.
I got
Little
3 cars.
Johnny wants a car.
That's right. He's only 12, but he's getting a
Dad,
fucking car.
Dad, you made $10 million off that movie?
Give me a caddy.
I wonder what my kids would be like if I made $10 million off a movie. Like, I wonder what my kids would think about that. Like, here's a 20. Well, how about some of those hundreds you got in there?
Right. Just don't show it,
The Full Monty. How much do you think that cost?
The Full Monty? I would say, I never saw it, but I would probably say, I don't know. I'm still thinking under $1 million, but it's probably just
3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Made 257.
Made how much?
257 million.
Jesus, I remember when that came out, and that was top shit.
You never saw that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious.
That's what I've always heard. I
love movies.
I need to go back and watch it because I love all kinds of British
here's
stuff.
a really good one. I think the list is just going down. Like it's getting. Down
as far as money and then okay.
Okay, so check this out. How much do you think Saw cost to make?
Oh, Saw was really
the first one.
It seems like I know these numbers. Saw was like 1.8 million.
You are very close. 1.2.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to you though. I think 1.8 is probably more closer.
Yeah.
So
no, I think I had the 1.8 in my head because they shot it in like 18 days or something.
Okay. It was shot like in like 3 weekends.
Yeah, it was a quick shoot.
The
And how much did it make?
103.
Wow.
Now, what's even more messed up about that is there's like 8 sequels to Saw that probably have made just the same, probably cost the same amount and made that much. Because those are one of those you have either if you don't go see it on the opening weekend, don't even bother seeing it at all. Like
right.
So they make all their money
that opening weekend, yeah. But that first movie it's still really good. I really enjoy it.
Here is a movie that we talked about recently. Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky cost $995,000, just barely under $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it made $225 million.
Shit.
Yes. and that movie, you can tell it did not cost much to make.
Mm-mm. And didn't Stallone have a lot to do with the making of that movie, as far as not just not just acting in it, but
yeah, he's at a lot. Yeah, I mean that was his baby.
Yeah.
Here's a great movie, a classic. American Graffiti.
You know, I thought of American Graffiti.
Yeah. And I didn't think about it because I thought it's George Lucas, so it didn't really pop into my head. But how much do you think that one cost to make? How much do you think that?
American Graffiti.
Yeah.
I would say probably in the 750,000 range.
You are awesome. 777.
Nice. Real nice.
Made 140.
Made 140.
That is and it's only because Francis Ford Coppola asked his studio to distribute the film.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was a total independent film. Napoleon Dynamite. No,
oh yeah, I forgot about Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite. $400,000.
I'm actually surprised at that. I would think it would be
that's
lower.
Like some people's mortgages these days.
Right, right.
And it made $46 million in the box office.
And that's surprising too, because when it came out, I remember when it came out, it didn't really get popular until like a couple months later.
It was a slow burn.
Yeah.
And this is like, I wouldn't say pre-DVD, but like, like it was still one of those, still during a time when a movie, you had to wait almost 8 months to a year for a movie to come out on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
movies got a little bit better.
Yeah, now it's like, what, 3 months?
3 months.
3 months you're getting a DVD.
Months, yeah.
Right.
Because they make more money off the sales now, which I think is weird.
And that's probably got a lot to do with piracy too. I'm sure they're trying to get the DVDs out to, get those sales. So to try to.
So here's another one, number 3 on the list. Our good friend Mel Gibson, Mad Max.
Mad Max. All right. When did that come out originally?
1979.
79.
Yeah. It cost $300,000 to make.
Not surprising.
And it made $100 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Basically they're just in the desert.
Yeah,
it's just that.
Yeah,
there's no sets. There's no.
It said the worldwide gross would end up totaling to $100 million, and the film held the Guinness World Record for the highest profit to cost film in 1979. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that it held that title for the next 20 years until. What do you think the next one on the list is?
I know the Blair Witch is up there. Is it number 2?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Blair Witch.
I was gonna say it's got to be either 1 or 2.
$60,000.
$60,000.
That's what some people make in a year.
Right. And how much did that make? Like the most ridiculous amount of money.
Now the thing is, the number that they have published here, I would venture a guess that's actually more than this.
Okay.
It's $248 million.
Yeah, I'd say higher than that.
I would think that the movie made a lot more than that.
And I wonder if most of that $60,000 didn't go to promoting the film, because their promotion was amazing for that film.
The website,
mm-hmm.
And the what's really funny though is I saw that in the theater.
I did too.
Didn't know anything about it.
When I saw it, I didn't know it was not real.
It was all my sister
mm-hmm.
was sold me on it. She's like, let's go see this movie. It's like this ghost story. I saw the website the other day. It looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a documentary.
Right. And that's how they promoted it.
And I was like, okay, a ghost story documentary. I can get down on that. Let's go see it. So we went and saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was freaked out.
Yeah.
I was freaked out.
Yep. I was too. I remember being legitimately, frightened for a little bit.
And there was a disclaimer on the screen that if you get nauseated from like
the camera motion,
that you needed to not watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some times there where I was just like, I think I'm gonna puke. I feel dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that movie is and then when all like the information would come out later about it,
right.
everything, I was really disappointed, and I was like, this should have remained.
It should have remained what it was. Yeah.
Like, just keep the joke going.
Mm-hmm.
Keep us believing that this is real.
Yeah.
But I think that's the cool thing about the movies, that when you watch it, even though you even know it's not real, you watch it and it still feels real. Like,
yeah. Because it's tense, you know, like when they lose the map and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of tension there.
It just
yeah.
Oh, I'm getting creeped out just thinking about it. But 248, I think that number's wrong. I think it made more money than that.
Yeah, I think that's a little low.
And it says it's the first film to ever take advantage of a viral online campaign in 1999.
99, okay.
Yeah.
That was when the internet was getting its
infancy,
yeah, and it's preteen years, I guess, you know.
Preteen internet. So what do you think is the number one movie
that cost less than $60,000?
It cost less than $60,000, but made a stupid amount of money. You may, I might just go ahead and tell you, because honestly, I didn't no idea that this would even be on this list.
Yeah, yeah.
Paranormal Activity.
You know, I was thinking about that a moment ago before we started looking at the list.
$15,000.
Wow. Well, it takes place in just a house.
That's a car payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a brand new Lexus, or,
yeah,
or something. Okay, so someone didn't get their new Ford Explorer that year.
They made a movie instead,
and it made $193 million.
Wow, that's huge.
I mean, talk about a winning lottery ticket there. And I'm sure the sequels went on to make more than that. You know?
And they're probably still pumping sequels out now as we speak.
So it says director Oren Peli filmed Paranormal Activity over 7 days at his own house for $15,000. The spooky camera horror film became a massive hit and word of mouth. The movie ended up pulling in $193 million worldwide, which sparked the production of 4 sequels, with more on the way. And I think that's what people get. I think what the masses don't realize is what they're watching is something so simple. It doesn't have to be, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a huge production.
Let's see here. The 5 Paranormal Activity movies have now grossed a combined of $805 million.
Jesus. With
the most recent sequel pulling in $86 million on a $5 million budget.
Wow. That's still, that's a shitload of money to me.
And I think that, God, you know what's really sad about that? I think the only reason why that movie cost $5 million is because he had to pay people.
Right. He had a crew.
He knows people knows he has money now, and if you want to be in the movie, it's
right.
And I don't think he might use all no-name actors for all. I didn't see. I just saw the first one.
I just saw the first one. Yeah.
I didn't see the other ones. Let's see here. Yeah. So that's a nice little trip down memory lane. Which is
no shit. I think a lot of those would justify a shitload definition.
Yeah, I think that by definition that is a shitload of money. But you also have like those other movies that like they cost small amounts of money, but then they don't really make a whole lot of money, but they end up finding like an audience somewhere down the line.
Kevin Smith movies.
I think when people listen to this, they'll be like, well, I guess they like Kevin Smith.
Yeah, because Tusk only cost like, I don't know, like $3 million or something.
Yeah.
It was really low.
It was filmed over like 12 days.
Yeah, something really quick.
And I think that like that's just what's really cool about stuff like that, and why I think I like movies like that is because like, oh, they didn't spend too much time on it. They just went with it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And like Blair Witch Project is exactly what it is. It's just they just went and ran around the woods for a couple of days, and so it is what it is. But we really like it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to backpedal here, but it won't let me.
Is there a page that, has the opposite, where it's like, were made for a shitload of money, but didn't make anything in the box office.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So how would we word that?
high budget movies, low gross.
High budget movies that failed. Oh, see?
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, here we go. This is gotta love Google. It almost list of box office bombs. There's a Wikipedia page for this.
Oh, right. We could be here for hours.
So that we've talked about this before about about like Waterworld and
of course everybody knows that.
The obvious ones. Look, it even has like the little algorithm of the math thing to figure in the production versus the dollar fluctuating, the estimated loss. Oh wow, dude, it has the top 50 on here.
Oh wow. Just want to go down to like the bottom, like 15 or so. We can go through all 50 if you want. I don't care.
Gosh, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Now, some of these I have never seen, or would probably have never heard of. So we'll start with the top.
Start with the top, and let's just go through the ones that we know of.
Hard Rain. Christian Slater.
I remember that. Yeah.
And What Minnie Driver.
Okay, I remember when that came out.
1998. Let's see what this chart. Production budget $70 million. It only made 19.
Ooh.
It was an estimated loss of $60 million. So I think when they figure in the losses, even though it did make money, I think it's one of those things like after everything's said and done.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
after all the bills have been paid. And
they still lost money.
Right.
So Lolita.
Kubrick?
The 1997 version of it cost $62 million, and it barely made $1 million.
Holy shit!
That it had one of the Ray Fiennes or Jeremy Irons.
Okay.
Was in it, yeah. Sphere, remember that piece of shit?
Sphere. It sounds familiar.
1998.
Okay. Does it have a list of anybody that was in it?
It just has a list. I can click on the movie here and Samuel Jackson, Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I remember this movie. It sucked. I saw it with my dad, and we were just sort of like,
why'd we do that?
$80 million, and it only made 37, and it lost. So it was adjusted loss of 61. Instinct. 99. I think that's that one.
That was with Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah. Anthony, that was a bomb. It 80 million and it only made 34 million. It's not bad.
No. But
$34 million.
Yeah.
They just spent too much money on it. Osmosis Jones. 70 million and it only made 14. And that was probably from DVD rental.
Yeah.
Because that movie sucked.
I never saw it.
Oh, this was another good one that actually I did think of this one. Ali.
Okay. I never saw Ali.
107 million.
Yeah.
And it only made 87.
Yeah. I remember hearing that just kind of bombed pretty well.
Yeah. And I think that one could be attributed to the fact that it came out at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
They made that like a Thanksgiving Christmas movie.
Okay.
And I don't remember what was out at the 2001, so that would have been Lord of the Rings, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, if it came out then, they fucked up.
Yeah.
Somebody got fired that weekend.
Red Planet.
Now, which one was that?
Notice how these are all sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
Most of these are,
which is shitty because sci-fi is awesome. Now, which one was that? Was that the Val Kilmer?
Red Planet was Val Kilmer. See, I didn't see this one.
I don't know if I did either. Who else is in it?
Carrie-Anne Moss and Tom Sizemore.
Okay. So that was right when Carrie-Anne Moss came off of Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. Directed by Anthony Hoffman. The film was Hoffman's only feature film, who primarily directed television commercials. Well, there's a good
there's a red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag, Red Planet.
Fincher did music videos before he did feature movies.
Yeah, that's where he got in cahoots with Reznor.
You know, he did like he was famous. He did a couple Madonna videos, which those particular ones are, I think, are some of her best videos.
Do you know which ones he did?
It's like a Prayer was one of them.
Okay.
You know.
So that one's that's pretty.
You know, it's like
pretty
stuff
Fincher-esque,
like that. Yeah. Chill Factor. That's actually a funny movie.
Chill Factor. I don't remember
Skeet
that
Ulrich.
one. Skeet Skeet Ulrich doesn't remember that movie.
I find it hard to believe this one cost $70 million. I find that hard to believe.
Jesus Christ.
And it only made 11.
Now that I can believe.
That's from movie rentals. It's from people who were duped into, probably people I duped into watching it when I worked at the video store.
Come on.
Dudley Do Right. Oh my God.
Poor Brendan Fraser.
$70 million, and it only made $9 million.
Of course. Why?
Here's this is one I actually thought of right here. Number 41, The Astronaut's Wife.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing that flopped really well. That was
$75 million.
Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron, right?
Yeah, it was like, it was like Rosemary's Baby on crack.
Okay.
You know, did you see it?
I didn't.
Yeah, I see. Okay, you weren't missing much.
No.
It only made 19.
And it was made for 75.
Yeah.
Okay.
1999. And this is a lot of money for the all these that are the mid late 90s. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Conan the Barbarian, 2011 version.
Oh, okay.
90 million and only made 48.
90 million. Wow. 48's surprising. That seems high to me.
I'm attributing to some of this loss, though. I'm attributing to some of this loss due to the fact that, like, this is during a time where you know, people weren't going to the movies.
What was the year? 2011?
2011. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go see that.
Yeah, that was kind of right in the middle of the second recession going on, huh? Yeah, nobody was doing shit at that time.
Land of the Lost. I didn't. No idea. 2009.
Yeah.
Cost $100 million. It made 68.
Good Lord, that's awful.
K-19, The Widowmaker. It's about a mountain.
I think it was about a submarine, maybe.
Is it the submarine?
I think so. I don't know. I could never get any of those military.
2002. It was $100 million and only made 65.
Wow.
Beloved. 1998.
That sounds like a romantic thriller suspense thing. I don't know. It sounds familiar.
It was directed by Jonathan Demme.
Really?
Stars Oprah Winfrey, Danny Glover, Thandie Newton. It's based on an American Civil War book. Huh.
Oh, okay. I can kind of. Oh yeah, I remember that now. I was thinking of something else.
98 only made 22 and it cost 80. Poseidon, 2006.
Poseidon.
It was like the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
Only a modern version of it.
I don't even think I heard of it.
It cost $160 million and it made $181 million, but it lost $69 million.
So it made more than it was than it cost, but it still lost.
It broke even, but it still lost money.
Huh.
People got to get paid.
Yeah.
You know? Zoom. 2006.
Nah. I don't know.
It's $75 million and it only made $12 million. Peter Pan from 2003. I didn't see that. $130 million, 120 only made. The Postman. Oh, I'll never forget this. Remember The Postman?
I never saw The Postman.
Oh, dude.
There were certain Kevin Costner movies I didn't watch, but for some reason,
cool. I loved it.
I need to go back because I really enjoy Kevin Costner.
I mean, it's not great, but it's cool.
Yeah.
You know? It cost $80 million. This is 1997. It cost $80 million and it only made 17.
Shit.
And this was Costner, like a big project for him. Like he put a lot of time and money into it, and I remember it was like a big fucking deal. That it was Monkey Bone.
Monkey Bone. Brendan Fraser is all over this list, I'm sure.
2001, $75 million. It only made $7 million.
Wow.
That means like
holy shit.
That means like someone took their kid to see it twice.
And that's it. Yeah.
Alexander.
That was Colin Farrell and what's her name?
Yeah. This is another one. It cost
Rosario Dawson.
155, and it made 167, but it still lost money. It lost 71 million.
Shit. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Geely.
Ah.
You knew this had to be on the list.
Of course. Of course.
2003, 75 million, and it only made 7.
Wow.
Now,
I contributed to that 7 because I actually watched that movie.
Okay. Now
I didn't go to the theater. I rented it because
okay.
because of what it was, because it was supposed to be like the most horrible movie ever, and I wanted to see it, and it wasn't great.
And here's one that I was actually disappointed in. Not that because I liked it, just because I kind of thought it would be the next big thing. Speed Racer.
Yeah, I had expectations for that, and
it was cool.
I mean, when I watched it, it's beautiful eye candy, but it's
Christina Ricci.
I mean, I love Christina Ricci, and Emile Hirsch is great too. And you got John Goodman in that, but I think they went so close to like the original anime as far as like wanting to reproduce kind of how the anime how it looked.
Yeah.
I think they kind of lost on like story and things like that. But I had high hopes for that. I thought it would be good, but when I watched it I was disappointed, but that's like
I thought it would
the
be
new Turtles movie.
Yeah.
It looks great. Like it looks so awesome, but everything else is shit. It's all terrible.
I thought it would be better, bigger,
because it's the Wachowskis, It's like
what's funny though is that like Speed Racer, it only cost 120 million only. And they probably spent all that on special effects.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They had probably to hire an effects lab to do that.
Well, they probably just filmed everything in a green room, and that's it.
And it only made 93. So you got to think that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
93 million is not bad at all. But for that reason that they lost $73 million, there's no sequel.
Right.
And there were sequels planned. Christina Ricci was signed on to do,
really?
At least 3 movies, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Around the World in 80 Days. Didn't see it.
The later version?
Yeah, 2004.
No. Let's see.
110, made 72. The Sound of Thunder.
I don't even know what that is.
The Great Raid.
Nope.
Cowboys and Aliens.
I liked Cowboys and Aliens.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jon Favreau. Whatever he does, I'm gonna watch.
This is another one. 163 million. Made 174. But it took a loss of 75.
Ugh. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's a huge loss.
How Do You Know?
Nope.
Hugo. Did you see that one?
That's Scorsese.
There's no. He probably hasn't released
numbers on that.
The numbers on it, but they have some ranges, 150 to 170, and then it made 185, and there's an estimated loss of 57 million. And so I wonder if you lose money even though you make money, they probably spent money after the fact.
Right.
I'm starting to think that. Triple X, State of the Union.
That was Ice Cube, right?
Was Ice Cube in that one?
I think so. I think it was like Vin Diesel the first one, and then like Cube took over the second one.
Yeah. 113 and it only made 71. The Wolfman.
I knew that was going to be on here.
2010.
Yeah, I heard that just didn't make any money.
Yeah, I mean, 150 and it made 80.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta think like people actually went to see these movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, people actually went to see.
A shitload of people wanted to go see them, but not enough.
Here's another one, Wind Talkers. That's another one of those. Like that one had.
It was like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. And there's no real numbers on it. There's just some ranges, and they're estimating a loss of 76 million. The Nutcracker in 3D.
Was that an actual movie or was it animation?
It was animation. Cost 90 million and only made 16. I'd say that's a big loss.
That's a huge loss, especially for it being the Nutcracker.
Oh, I knew this would be on the list. Supernova.
Who was in that?
Let me refresh your memory here.
Yeah. Doesn't sound too familiar.
2005. Directed by Walter Hill. paintings by H.R. Geiger.
Okay.
Featuring James Spader, Angela Bassett, Robert Forster, Lou Diamond Phillips, Robin Tunney.
What was the year? 2005?
2005. Oh, no, wait. 2000. I'm sorry.
Okay.
2000. Yeah, it was one when I worked at the video store. It was like we got like 1 million copies of it and nobody was renting it.
Right.
Like it was one of those movies. It took a huge loss. It cost $90 million. This is 2000.
Right.
$90 million.
Yeah.
It only made 14.
Ooh.
Town and Country, 2001.
No.
Didn't see it. I have no idea what that is.
Nope.
Treasure Planet.
Sounds familiar. Was it? That was
Cartoon.
Yeah, I was about to say animation. Was that Disney or DreamWorks?
Disney.
Yeah.
140 million and only made 109.
Fuck.
Evan Almighty. Oh yeah, Evan Almighty. But Evan Almighty is weird because it cost 175. It made 173 and they lost 88 million on it.
Wow, that's a big loss.
I think because did you ever see Cutthroat Island?
Cutthroat Island. No.
Oh, I didn't see that movie with Gina Davis.
Right, I remember it.
Pirate movie.
Yeah, I remember that. I never saw it though.
1995. It cost $98 million. I'll never forget this because I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was a kid back then. And it only made 18 million.
Wow.
And it was like one of those like maybe we shouldn't spend so much money on movies. Like it was one of those
kind of turning points.
Yeah. Green Lantern.
Shit. The movie was shit.
200 million.
Oh my god.
And it only made 90. But $90 million, man. Somebody went to see it.
Yeah.
I
guess I think that was when I still had Netflix. Is when that came out.
2011.
No, I didn't have Netflix. I must have rented it.
Pluto Nash.
Yeah. Poor Eddie Murphy.
You want to take a gander on this one?
Let's see.
It's massive.
Is it? No, you're just gonna tell me because I'm sure my numbers will be way off.
$100 million.
Okay.
And it only made $7 million.
Oh my god, that is so fucked up.
That means that's bad.
That is so awful.
That is.
I
bad.
knew it was bad, but I didn't realize
and that's another one, man. We got like 1 million copies of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was probably cheap.
Yeah. And it was Eddie Murphy,
Do you remember Stealth? 2005?
No.
Yeah.
Name kind of sounds familiar, but...
Yeah, it lost $96 million.
Jesus.
Sahara?
Yeah, that had McConaughey and Steve Zahn.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I never saw it, though.
Yeah, another big one. $160 million and only made $119.
Wow.
Big flop. Jack the Giant Slayer, 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Came out last year.
The kid that played Beast in the new X-Men, he was Jack.
Well, that's another one. There's no real numbers on it, but
That's probably so new.
It's estimated to have lost $100 million.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, and there's still no numbers on how much it cost. So they're estimating that it cost at least $200 million, which means people aren't done getting paid yet.
Right.
This was Final Fantasy: The Spirit Within.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another one on this one that's like it's 145 million, and it only made 85. But they're estimating, they still don't have numbers. They're still estimating a loss of $100 million.
It's still
Someone's still getting paid out for this one.
Holy shit.
John Carter. This was a Stallone movie.
Huge flop. Yeah. No, this isn't that movie. What year did it come out? I think this was the most recent one, right?
Let's see here. Oh yes, Disney.
Yeah.
Okay, 2012. This is that one where Taylor Kitsch is in this one.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in the new True Detective? This is the one.
He was also the guy that played the really shitty Gambit in Wolverine Origins.
This is the movie where it got it cost all this money to make, and one of the special effects houses they used went out of business.
Like during production?
Because the production stopped paying them.
Oh, wow. That's so fucked up.
So it's like a lawsuit pending with this thing.
I remember there was a lot of controversy when that came out as far as the money that was spent on it.
And there's one I've never heard of, R.I.P.D.
Yeah, that's really recent. Okay. Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds.
There's no real numbers on it. They're estimating $114 million loss on it.
Wow.
The Lone Ranger. Haven't seen this one yet, and I really want to see it.
Yeah.
But judging from these numbers. But this is, I think, this one, this movie actually probably could have done better if it had come out at a different time. You know, but
what time of year do you think it came out?
It came out in the summertime, I believe.
Okay. So that was that last year?
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
What else came out last year during the summer?
There's still no production cost for this one, so it's an estimated to be at least $250 million.
For the production cost?
For the production cost.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And there is an estimated worldwide gross of $260 million. So it only profited by 10.
Yeah.
Worldwide. But they're estimating $120 million loss.
I'm surprised that it made that much in the theaters. I don't know anybody that saw it.
There was a big ad campaign for this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know.
And that's probably where a lot of that money went was promotion and ads.
Did you see The 13th Warrior, 1999? Yeah, that's another big one. There's still no real preliminary numbers. There's some preliminary numbers on it, but it's like 160 million. It only made 60 million.
In 99, that's a shitload of fucking money.
Mars Needs Moms.
Yeah, I heard that flopped real big. It was an animated feature.
150 million and it only made 38.
Wow.
Yep. And 47 Ronin, 2013.
I want to say that was like one of Keanu Reeves' latest movies.
Oh, okay. That's another one. I wouldn't say it's a big loss, but it cost $225 million and it only made $150 million. And they're estimating a loss of $149 million.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy.
And there's like the biggest box office bombs adjusted for inflation. So they have the top 10 adjusted for inflation. So by today's standards. So just running down the list here. Heaven's Gate, which is 1980. It lost $120 million.
Wow.
So if you adjust it for
today's standards, yeah.
Then you have Lone Ranger, Sahara, Fall of the Roman Empire from 1964. Pluto Nash, Final Fantasy, Mars Needs Moms, Cutthroat Island, 47 Ronin 13. How come Waterworld isn't on this list?
I don't know. What are the numbers on Waterworld?
I don't know. Let's look that up. I always thought Waterworld was like.
It's always the one you hear about, you know, as far as money loss and waste.
Let's see here, Waterworld. It's a strange. Joss Whedon's alternative Waterworld ending sounds way better than the movie version.
I believe that.
This is what you get when you Waterworld.
Yeah, if Whedon's right, it's going to be good.
Cost.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Avengers?
No. No, not yet.
It looks amazing.
List of most expensive films. Interesting. Ben-Hur. Okay. Wow. Now here's the thing. Avatar, they saying it cost $237 million, but that is not true. Avatar was boasting $1 billion production budget.
Right.
And so you have to wonder, it's like, did Cameron himself spend his own money off the books?
Right. Which would not surprise me. I mean, as far as...
Well, those 3D cameras they used, they built specifically for the movie.
Right. So, I mean, that's crazy money right there.
He told somebody, I need a camera that does this, and does this, and you have 3 years to do it. Go.
Right.
This is an interesting list, though, considering what's on it. This is an interesting list. They're saying that as of right now, the most expensive movie is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, and it costs an estimated $300 million.
Wow. But those movies have made so much money.
Right.
Beyond that.
And just kind of going down the list here. You got like Tangled, it was an animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 3, John Carter, Harry Potter, Half-Blood Prince. Was that which one was that?
Half-Blood Prince was the sixth movie.
Okay. Avatar, Dark Knight Rises. These are all in like the 250 million range.
Right.
Chronicles of Narnia, The Prince Caspian. I didn't see that one.
Mm-mm.
Lone Ranger, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
I didn't see any of the Chronicles of Narnia.
I saw the first one.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Man of Steel, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, Avengers, Men in Black 3, Oz the Great and Powerful. These are all in the 200 million.
Really?
200 million to 225 range. These are just like, some of these are not exact numbers. X-Men Last Stand, Transformers, Age of Extinction, Battleship, King Kong, Superman Returns, Titanic, Transformers.
I'm surprised Superman Returns wasn't on that flop list because that didn't do very well.
Yeah, this flop list is probably outdated.
I'm sure it is.
2012, piece of shit.
I don't know if I remember that one. I think the last movie I saw of the whole world ending was Day After Tomorrow. I don't think I saw 2012.
Terminator Salvation's on this list. I remember you and I went to see that.
That was a good movie.
And it was cool.
I liked it.
Green Lantern, Spider-Man. I mean, this is all recent stuff.
This
is all recent shit. Like,
and that's how it's going to be from now on. The newest movie is going to be the most expensive.
Monsters University cost $200 million to make. This is wow.
I wonder how much Interstellar costs to make.
They probably don't have numbers for that one yet.
Or Gravity. Have you seen Gravity?
Yeah, Gravity was awesome.
Yeah.
Gravity was really, really cool. Let me see here. So we're getting down to the $100 million. Interstellar's on this list as $165 million. But I'd question some of these numbers just based on, like, But okay, and it has most expensive multi-film productions. So you have the Pirates of the Caribbean, which are both done at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's an estimated cost of $450 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually forgot that they did both of those at the same time.
The first two or the second two?
The second two. They filmed them
at the same time? Okay.
Yeah. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I'm not buying this number, but they're saying that the whole shebang was $260 million.
For all three?
For all three.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so low. I mean, that took 3 years to make. There's no way that they spent just $200 million on that.
I mean, you gotta think Ian McKellen probably got $30 million alone.
Right.
So, yeah. And you have like the Twilight Saga on here. It's 230. The Matrix movies. These are the Twilight. These are multi movies, so that means that they're filmed at the same all at once. So the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows is on here for 250.
And that's just two movies.
That's just
Yeah.
So the Matrix films, which I don't think the Reloaded and Revolutions were done at the same time.
Yeah, they filmed both of those at the same time.
It was 237, and Reloaded was so terrible I didn't go see the third one.
No.
Actually, I've not walked out of very many movies, but I walked out of the second Matrix.
Really?
Yeah. It was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. didn't even bother seeing a third one.
I don't know. I thought there was some cool visual parts in Reloaded, but Revolution, man, that was a shit story. They should have just stopped at the first one.
Well, I think what's interesting about this list is that you have all these movies, they're all recent, and so there's not like, you have to adjust. There's a list here of adjusted gross for inflation, and there's a whole, but like you kind of have like more recent ones where I don't want to buy these numbers just yet,
Right.
I don't think,
especially that Lord of the Rings number. That's ridiculous.
Now they have a timeline here. This is kind of cool. A timeline of the most expensive $1 million productions. And this goes all the way back to 1922.
Oh, wow.
Where 1922 Foolish Wives cost $1 million. When The Knighthood Was a Flower cost, this is 1922, $1.5 million. The Ten Commandments was $1.5 million for 1923.
Wow.
Ben-Hur was just a hair under $4 million, 1925. And I knew Gone with the Wind at one time was one of the most expensive movies ever made. It was $4 million.
Wow. How much was Wizard of Oz?
It's not on here.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Because that was what, 37?
37. Yeah, it's not on here. It probably didn't cost $1 million.
I don't know, man. I mean, the transition from sepia to color, that was a pretty big. Of course, they were probably using a color camera the whole time, but
yeah. Well, the way that color was achieved in those days was you had 2 reels, or three reels of film, and they had to be placed on top of each other,
right,
and aligned. And so, if you wanted, sepia, you just removed the other 2 pieces of film. And they said that, which is interesting, and you have to watch it on the DVD, the documentary about how they restored the movie. It's actually really interesting because they said that like a lot of people thought the movie was in black and white, and then it goes to color. And
right.
That's not true, and that's because televisions and screens at that time and showed on TV would not show sepia.
Right.
It doesn't show up.
That color
comes in
as
black and white.
Exactly.
And so like old CRT televisions don't produce sepia. Which I think is funny.
Right.
I think that's really, really interesting. But now they said that based on, in those days they would line the film up and nail it to the table and then piece it together that way. But now you just take a digital copy.
Right.
And digitally
and just layer it on.
Yeah. This is interesting list, kind of giving you a history, a rundown. Because I remember like when Terminator 2 was like, the big deal with that one was like, because it cost so much money. And the number here for Terminator is $94 million.
Wow.
Which is like, for 1992, it's a lot of money, considering some of the technology that they innovated to make that movie. Die Hard 2 is on the list, 62. But Waterworld, man, just like maybe just like Waterworld, just known as being a flop. Maybe there's no real numbers out there. They don't want people to know actually how much money. Here's a real funny anecdote that I learned from the Back to the Future DVD was that the studio didn't want to spend a shit ton of money on a sequel. So the compromise was, okay, here's what we'll do. We will take the $60 million budget and we'll make 2 movies.
Yeah.
So each movie gets $30 million. And we'll do them both at the same time. And we'll just have to be really careful and not to go over budget. And the studio was like, okay, but I don't want to be known as the guy that greenlit the most expensive movie ever made.
Right.
And this is the same dude that gave the thumbs up for Waterworld.
It's like, no, you did. You actually did that. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, you have to wonder about that. You really do. So.
And that's the
Anyway.
same guy that's kicking his own ass for
Yeah.
not doing that for Back to the Future. Because
His
if they had
kid-
more money, man,
60
2015 could have been even awesomer, you know?
Oh, I just like how they just made it really absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way this future would ever exist. You know,
Not in this amount of time.
Like,
Not in 30 years.
like they just totally made it absurd, and that's just I think that's the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the you know just the way.
Oh, especially when Doc first comes back and he's like peeling off his face. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, just had this done," you know.
Rejuvenation clinic.
Right.
I went to a rejuvenation clinic. So, anywho, so what else we got today?
I don't know. What's our runtime right now?
An hour and a half.
Speaking of Costner, the last thing I watched was JFK. Just watched that
Oh yeah,
last week. One of
I
my
need to
faves.
I need to see that again.
So good. Historically inaccurate, of course, but still a good movie.
Well, weren't we saying at one time that like it's kind of what's his name who directed it is more
Oliver Stone.
He's more into the myth or the what are you gonna take the myth or the truth, and he'd much rather take the myth because it's more interesting, you
Right.
know, and that's how the Doors movie is.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
Absolutely.
He's definitely that kind of guy. He's more
But-
willing to.
But rewatching it again now, I can definitely see that there is some truth to be sought, that he does want. Maybe he made a movie like this to maybe uncover some truth.
Right.
Because I actually just re-listened to Stephen King's 11/22/64. I read the book and it was good, but I just listened to it on audiobook, and a lot of stuff I forgot about, but a lot of stuff because he actually does an afterword himself. Somebody else reads the book, but King does his own afterward, and he talks about some of the information that he went to research, some of the books that he read to research the the story of what would have been going on at that time. And sure. And so listening to the book and then going back and watching that movie, I kind of put a few more pieces together, which was really cool. Certain people that were kind of in Oswald's life that a lot of people probably don't know about. But I don't know. It's kind of cool to,
Quantum Leap, but he's like, "You telling me I have to commit suicide? No. Oswald is gonna attempt suicide." Remember he leaped into Oswald.
I vaguely remember that. I don't know if I watched Quantum Leap a whole bunch, but I vaguely remember that.
There were some good like JFK jokes thrown in there.
Yeah.
You know? And then they're tied in with like time travel jokes. You know.
Right, of course.
You mean I gotta commit suicide? No. You're gonna attempt suicide. There were some good jokes in there. You know, and then
Yeah, for some reason I never really got into Quantum Leap.
I watched it a lot.
Yeah.
I was really, I liked the TV show, but the problem is they ended it really prematurely,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the real issue at hand for me. Was that they ended it really prematurely, and they weren't granted the money to finish the
Yeah.
show, and kind of like Doogie Howser.
Right. But I was doing some research after I listened to 11/22/63 that there is a series that's going to be made. So that's going to be cool. It's probably going to be like an 8-part type deal. Not like a full season of anything. Like
Based on that book.
on that book.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's going to be that book. So.
Well, I guess they'll kind of give him a whole other world to run around in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's just cool.
Because the book's cool. I mean, it deals with time travel, and it deals, it's primarily, with the time frame between 58 and 63, which is really awesome. But, King, like most of us or a lot of us, has a huge fascination with the whole Kennedy assassination and the truth in that. And I also, in my readings, of that information that apparently Kevin Costner had. I don't know who it was. He offered like $1 million to, I don't know if it was somebody on the Warren Commission or something, like later on, like after JFK was made, offered them like $1 million to tell them the truth.
Oh, yeah. There was that whole, he wanted, I don't think it was so much the truth. He wanted,
or just wanted to know.
He wanted something, the documents, or he wanted to see something, because there was, because during that whole time when the movie came out, there was like new little things trickling out,
right?
And I remember hearing about that.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'd be kind of funny if someone like Costner wrote a check for $30 million and say, "Okay, can you just tell us who killed Kennedy?"
Right. Just give us the info.
Here you go. Who do you want me to give the check to?
Right. Where do I go?
Name your charity and just tell me.
Exactly.
It's
like, do I just write this to CIA or who gets this?
I'll get Universal Studios to solve the country's debt if you tell me.
Right. Just tell me something.
We're gonna have to wrap this up soon.
Well, let's wrap it up. We've been doing this for almost 2 hours, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can edit it down. So I guess we're done.
Yeah.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, we can do that.
We don't have a name yet.
No name. We don't have a way to close the show yet, but this was kind of just a test.
A testament.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So okay, so I guess we're done.
Okay. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.